Welcome to Sports Talk with Steve Jones, the daily talk show with the voice of Penn State football and men's basketball. You never know what special guest may stop on by any given day. Now here's the man of the hour, Mr. Steve Jones.
The World Cup roster is out, Pulisic's on the team, and the discussion is now over. All right, so...
Hold up.
Hold on, what? Doesn't matter.
Hold up.
No, nobody.
No.
Please.
I wanna at least mention it a little more.
No.
I wanna. Let me bring this up, if I may. The U.S. announced last week on Wednesday they're gonna have this whole World Cup show on Tuesday.
Nobody cares.
What happens on Friday? The whole thing got leaked. The entire roster.
Because he sent out an email to all the guys on the team.
No, it wasn't that. They didn't have every single player on the team in that thing. It was because the whole roster itself, someone had the whole press release of who was on the team and just put it out there. It was sent out on Friday to everybody. Everyone knew who was on the team, who didn't make it. And so they spent the last 4 days talking about it. The U.S. now goes in.
Did Shams just break it because it was handed to him, or no? Yeah.
All I know is
it's a perfect name for the guy.
Mauricio Pochettino has picked his roster. There are some players people believe should have been selected. I would agree with.
Yeah, whatever.
That may not have been selected, that are playing at really high levels. Yeah. There are some players who are a quote-unquote surprise.
Italy is out.
Italy is, of course, out, but in terms of the U.S., Gio Reyna has barely played for Borussia Mönchengladbach, but he is in. Make of that what you will after the whole 2020 through now debacle of his basically career, of his dad stepped in to try and help him, and it's been weird.
Okay.
So, World Cup roster's out.
If you ask an average fan about the Tennessee Titans, they can tell you some stuff about them.
Yeah.
If you ask the average fan about this, they can't tell you anything about the team except Pulisic's on the team.
Except Pulisic. He is, of course, playing. The U.S.'s first game is June 12th.
Yes, that part we know. They're playing Paraguay.
Yes, and let me tell you, Steve Jones, that World Cup week, June 8th through 12th, will be a fun week. Let me tell you that.
Yeah, I think
we're discussing World Cup all week, and you have no say against it.
I've got a feeling I'm going to be playing a lot of golf that week. All right, so.
Breaking news, Steve Jones out on the golf course. No longer in studio for a week.
Playing a lot of golf.
Yes. You know who else will be playing golf in the near future, or is, as of today? Colorado Avalanche. They are playing a lot of golf now, going forward.
Yeah, look, they when they botched Game 2, and they did, that opened the door for the sweep. Having Cale Makar out for a couple of games didn't help, but Mark Stone was also hurt for Vegas. So let's not say that. One guy, because the other, Stone didn't come back until they played in Vegas. And Stone's an important part for them. He missed several games. And I just felt going in the biggest weakness they had was goaltending. I felt that offensively, Colorado was so superior all year, it made their goaltending look better. Mm-hmm. There weren't games where they depended on either one of those two guys to bail them out, maybe a game here or there. But, now you're facing the best competition game in and game out, and you could just tell, just like Buffalo, that, they couldn't settle on, they couldn't find somebody consistent enough to keep playing the spot. And so the President's Trophy team is out again. And now we'll see if Carolina can survive against Montreal, because Carolina and Colorado during the regular season were the two best teams. Montreal has played really well. I mean, the last two games have been overtime. They've lost the games in overtime.
Yeah, Carolina is up 2-1 in the series.
Yeah, and they won both those games in overtime. So, that's where they are. Now, San Antonio and Oklahoma City, this is what last night told me. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander did not play his best game.
No.
Victor Wembanyama did not play his best game.
No.
Oklahoma City won by 15.
Yep.
That tells me how deep Oklahoma City is with talent. And it tells me that maybe youth is being served on the side of San Antonio. They're not mature enough to overcome a game where their best guy isn't playing his best. Mm-hmm. Oklahoma City has enough depth and confidence to overcome nights where they're, because I thought Shea Gilgeous-Alexander really played a poor game last night.
He did. He is a grand total of 38 for 100 in the series shooting, which is a very easy 38%. Yeah. He went 16 for 17 at the line last night to get to 32.
Right.
But he didn't shoot 7 for 19, 2 for 3 from 3.
And Oklahoma City needs to do an exponentially better job in transition defense because San Antonio's been able to run on them, and they've outscored them like a 2-1.
Which is funny because that's what the Thunder have been all season. Is they have been the opposite of that, where they have been the team that gets turnovers, forces them, and runs out in transition. They have not been able to convert.
But sometimes, we always talk about a team that presses. Mm-hmm. What don't they like to have happen to them? They don't like to be pressed. Mm-mm. Okay? Well, sometimes a team that like run all the time and it's almost always their way, they don't like to be run on. Mm-hmm. And that's where San Antonio's done a great job. They've been able to run, and they've outscored them at a 2-1 rate in the series so far. So you're going to go back to San Antonio.
You mentioned depth. Real quick, if I may. So last night, the Thunder did not have A.J. Mitchell. He was out with his hamstring injury. Right. He's probably not going to play for the series. Mm-hmm. Same with Jalen Williams, the wing. He is still out with a hamstring injury for him, so he is also not playing. So last night, they started Hartenstein, Holmgren, Shea, Lou Dort, and Jared McCain, traded from the Sixers this season.
Yes.
But coming off their bench, they pulled up, so Jalen Williams, the big, from Arkansas, I believe, is their backup center, basically. He plays. He's done really well. Alex Caruso is their 6th man. Same with Cason Wallace. He's their 7th man.
Right.
But Kenrich Williams, he is, I believe, 31, is basically their 13th man on the bench. He played 12 minutes last night, 3 for 3, hit 2 threes, 3 rebounds. He is their 13th man, and he's probably in a heavy rotational minutes for most teams in the league. Isaiah Joe and Aaron Wiggins played garbage time. They're probably, again, in the rotation for most teams in the league, and they're not getting minutes until the last couple of the game. That is... We have discussed the top level of talent on a lot of these teams.
No, that's what most of these shows just do. They just talk about the top level of talent. I don't do that, right? I mean, I talked about, Shamet about being a swing guy. I mean, I'm sorry. Part of the show is to sit there and just not. I mean, if you want, I could sit here for an hour and just do all the basics and be really lazy. Mm-hmm. I don't want to do that.
No, we go through this, but the fact that they played 9 players last night, and then Isaiah Joe and Aaron Wiggins would play for most teams, and they had 2 of their 3 starters out in A.J. Mitchell and Jalen Williams.
Right.
You just do the sheer number of it.
No,
there are 13 players who are going to play for the Thunder in this series. 13 players. Most teams, you cut that rotation down to 7, 8 players for the most part. The Spurs played 7 players pretty much. Luke Cornett got a couple minutes here and there.
Well, they had to because Wembanyama can't play 48 minutes.
Exactly. So it's
and that's not a criticism.
He can't. So they play generally a 7 to 8 man rotation. The Thunder have 13 players they can use. Sam Presti has built this roster to win no matter what happens. Injury, be darned. They are, unless at this point, unless they lose Shea to an injury, I trust their roster to just win a game anyway. Yeah. Because unless they, again, do like they did in Game 4 when they just couldn't make a shot, there is no better thing to have than too many players in your roster.
Right.
That is, depth helps, and good depth really helps.
San Antonio just needs to go out, play its game. Wembanyama is going to have a game where he gets between 25 and 30. I think he's going to have a game where he gets a dozen rebounds. And by doing that, it'll free up some other people to have better shots. I thought Fox played decently last night. Castle was okay. Harper was okay. And And remember, for Harper, he's played more basketball now this year than he's played. At Rutgers, he took days off, and I'm not. That is not me. Just no. He took days off, and we knew it. We always got we don't know why. Why is that? We don't know. It's like you're talking to people and we don't know. Well, now he's playing every day. Well, guess what? Fatigue sets in. He hasn't played this much basketball in his life going back to the preseason. I mean, he's over 100 games played this year. Yeah. Between preseason, postgame, and the regular and postseason and the regular season.
And he's still playing really well.
He's playing well. Yeah. No, he's playing well. He's done some good things for
a rookie guard to be in the spot he is, playing as well as he is not something that's easily done. Pretty much any sport. Usually there's a rookie learning curve, and you discussed it there. At some point in the season, the rookies tend to drop off. It's always a thing in the NBA where you get to February, the rookies are fatigued because they're not used to playing 60, 70 games in a season and on pretty much back-to-backs every day. Right. In college, they have a couple extra days here and there off versus the NBA where you are playing pretty much every other day. And in the case of the lead guards like a Harper, where he is playing every single game, he's hitting 70-something games. You add in the playoffs where he's now into double figures.
Plus he played preseason games too.
Plus preseason, plus it adds up fast. And for a lead guard to be playing as well as he has been,
he's done a great job. He's done a great job because playing Oklahoma City, they have a very active offense
and a really active defense.
And when you look at, I remember when they acquired McCain from Philadelphia. When they drafted him, Philadelphia, I said, it's a great pick. I said, it's a great situational player. I said, I don't expect him to be a starter or anything like that, but I expect him to be a really, really good situational player for them. And after how long they bagged him. I'm like, what are you doing? What's going on here? Now he goes to Oklahoma City surrounded by other really good players, and guess what? He is a terrific situational player. Mm-hmm. That's where this league is right now. Mm-hmm. Sam Presti is smarter than other people in that Sam Presti was smart enough to understand that Paul George is not a star. Mm-hmm. Sorry, he's not. Everybody wants to make him out to be one. He's not. Do I think he's really good? Yes. Mm-hmm. Do I think he's excellent to great? No, I never have. When he was with Indiana, I was like, okay, he's a really good player. Mm-hmm. Okay? But that's all he's been in the league. Oh, no, you don't understand the league. Oh, just knock it off. I can look at a guy and go, you know what? Mm-hmm. He's really good, but he's not great. He understood. Yeah. He understood that, and he got rid of him.
He has star branding. He doesn't have star ability.
Right. He got rid of him. Mm-hmm. He gets Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in.
And 6 picks, by the way.
Right, and he drafts Chet Holmgren second overall.
He drafts Jalen Williams with the pick he got from the Clippers with Shai for Paul
Jay
George.
Williams. Right. Holmgren, he was patient enough he had to sit out a year. Mm-hmm. Right. Then they built around them. Okay. Hartenstein getting him, gave him a veteran presence up front. That really helped. And they have, I need another shooter out there. He gets McCain from Philadelphia, and he got him cheap. Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah. He understands team building. You were asking me yesterday about the best managers and so forth. I forgot to mention Tony La Russa because I think Tony La Russa is special. But it's the GMs who have a feel for what team building is that makes all the difference in the world. That's why Howie Roseman has done, I'd say 7 out of 10 things that he does are outstanding. Mm-hmm. Because you're not going to hit them all.
Brad Stevens.
Right. You're going to miss. Brad Stevens has a great feel for all this. You don't have Jason Tatum all year and you still do that? Mm-hmm. Okay. They were the number 2 seed and for the most part didn't have one of their 2 stars. Yeah. I have to give Detroit credit. I think they've done a good job of building a team.
Built a great roster. Leon Rose has built the roster.
The Knicks have done a really good job. There's no question about that. They've got a very balanced roster.
And I'll put this out there. If you know your two better players, of Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns, aren't the best defensive players in the world, which they aren't, what do? You put defense around them. OG Anunoby, really good defensively. Mikal Bridges, good defensively. Josh Hart, good defensively. And they're all bigger wings who can switch, who can play around positionally. They can defend the weaknesses that team has.
Well, they also
which is
have,
how you build a good roster.
You build a good roster. You look, okay, what do I have and what's missing? And then you bring in guys like that aren't stars, but they bring a specific skill to the table. All right, so let's take Hartenstein. Okay, goes to Oklahoma City. Gave them a little more physical presence.
Rebounding.
Right, rebounding. Offensively, the only shot he has is the floater.
Yeah.
But it's good. It's good enough. No, it's good enough. I mean, you're not going to hey, he's going to get 20 points on floaters tonight. No, he's not going to do that.
He screens, he hits floaters, he rebounds, and he plays some defense.
It's good enough. And I think that is and the really good teams are the ones. There's certain things you can't help. You can't help if guys get hurt. You can't help. I mean, you just can't.
But you can build your team to where if they do get hurt, in the case of the Thunder, you've got enough players to withstand the fall of it.
Yeah, and that also goes to the guys that they're bringing in. It's like it's not like you waved a magic wand. Those guys worked hard, and they also work hard every day in practice against these guys.
Yeah.
And they're only expected to fill roles. They are not expected to take over. Okay? McCain's not taking over. He's filling a role. Right? And
the only player you can't replace essentially is your best player. You can't replace Shea.
Your best player, I mean, there's no way on the face of the earth San Antonio is going to be able to replace Victor Wembanyama. Okay? You're just not going to do it. So he's the irreplaceable guy in your roster. But they've done a good job of, they drafted Castle. They drafted Harper. The acquisition of Fox from Sacramento, I thought, was a stroke of genius when it happened. Because there's too many guys in this league that people make big deals out of. I mentioned Paul George being one. I mean, remember Cousins?
DeMarcus Cousins.
Every time DeMarcus Cousins, they got DeMarcus. I'm like going, so what? I'd be sitting there like going, what? Am I taking crazy pills? I mean, in other words, like I talk about great, excellent, very good, good. He's like barely to good. And I'm sitting there going, and on ESPN, they got Cousins. They got Cousins. I'm like going, and so what? There's so many so what moves made in this league that they make a big deal out of. So right. But I'm trying to figure out who they fear. I mean, no, seriously, I'm trying to figure out who they fear in the league. Like, it's like, you got to be kidding me. I mean, there's too many guys that they thought, they got to. But then you got a guy like Fox in Sacramento. Look, when you're playing in Sacramento, you are kind of playing, for the lack of a better term, you're in the NBA, but it's a lot of the witness protection program stuff. And all of a sudden you're like, you keep looking like, hey, that guy's a really good player. Right? Well, then they picked him up and he fit in with what San Antonio's doing. So, there's a lot of things going on like that. So.
Steve, today is the deadline for when players can opt in or out of the NBA draft, or they can return to college. Going through some players that were going through the draft process that have returned or left.
Well, I'll tell you the one I'm interested in to see what he decides to do, and I think he's going to stay in is Morez Johnson.
So we'll get to Morez Johnson in a second. So Ruben Chinyelu from Florida is going back to Florida.
Yep.
So he is returning. John Blackwell opted out of the draft to go play for Duke this coming season.
Yep.
Going on through Malachi Moreno, the center for Kentucky, is returning to the Wildcats for his sophomore season.
Yep.
You then go on up. Matt Abel, the North Carolina wing, is going back to UNC. The 6'6" guard wing is going to go play for Michael Malone over there.
Yep.
Christian Anderson, the guard from Texas Tech, is staying in the NBA draft. Alan Graves, the wing from Santa Clara, is also staying in the draft. I believe Merez Johnson has opted on to stay at I believe he is keeping his name in the draft. Sorry, he's keeping his name in the draft as of 8 days ago. He announced it. So he is staying in the draft. Other players who have not, as of now, opted in or out that are interesting guys to note are Koa Pete from Arizona. People think he should probably go back to college, develop another year. Malik Thomas from Arkansas. Amari Allen. Tunde Yusufu from Baylor. Tyler Tanner. Milan Momcilovic. Jeremy Fears. Andrei Stojakovic. And Billy Richmond. Stojakovic said he would come back to Illinois if he stays. He's probably gonna go back to Illinois, would be my guess.
My understanding is he's going back to Illinois.
So those are the players to monitor right now.
Badiako going back into the draft?
I was going to look it up, and then I realized what you said. Okay, never mind. Maybe he's got another year, Steve.
It's like, what are we doing?
I'm not fully certain.
What are we doing?
I don't know.
I mean, you can't go back to high school and play, okay? But these guys, you can go back to college and play? Come on.
I don't know if you and Jason discussed it last week, but the NCAA ruling on the international players.
Well, they haven't voted on it yet. It's not until June. They're gonna vote in June on it.
From what you understand, would this rule go into effect for this current season? Like this?
See, that's the
roster?
part. That's the part I'm not sure about, and I've been trying to check to see because I don't. In my opinion, you cannot have it be in for this season. And here's the reason why. It has to start with the next recruiting class or signing class because people already have their rosters.
So what the ruling is for those at home is the NCAA has put out this essentially eligibility requirement that would impact international players, which would say anyone who's played in the ACB, France, Italy, the Australian NBL, or played for a EuroLeague team or any of those marks would become ineligible, I believe, to play in the NCAA to some extent. So, a lot of players, not just at Penn State, but I think it's like 20% of players across the teams made the tournament from last year would all of a sudden be ineligible. Like, it would be a crazy number of guys would all of a sudden, poof, gone, lose eligibility immediately because of this.
But see, here's the issue. You don't have a roster.
No.
Okay? Remember, the transfer portal closed back in April. It's been closed for 6 weeks. Now, there are people still like in the portal that haven't been picked up, but it closed 6 weeks ago. The late signing period has come and gone. It's done. The late signing period's finished.
Yeah.
Okay? So you have all these people that have their rosters, quote, set. I'm sorry, you can't do that and say, okay, we're going to do that now. To me, it's got to be a rule that goes into place starting next year. I mean, to me, it has to be just like the 5-year rule, the 5 and 19 rule. It's got to be the clock has to start for anybody starting in the next recruiting period.
Yeah.
Right? And the 19 years of age and older for, so I take you and you're 21 and, you were playing over in Europe, whatever. Well, you got a couple of years of eligibility left. That's it. That's all you got.
So going through some players who would be affected that are coming on in for this current season includes EuroLeague players, including Quinn Ellis, who's going to St. John's, Saliu Niang going to LSU, Marcio Santos to LSU, Montas Rubstavicius going to Auburn. You've also got players like Dame Sarr at Duke, Ivan Karchenkov at Arizona, Elias Rapiku at Kansas State, James Najee at Baylor, who's a different one. Okay, but you've also got Teese DeRitter at Virginia.
But see, Najee was involved in the G League stuff.
Outside of Najee, take him out of this. The rest of those players are all EuroLeague players.
Okay, the two EuroLeague players that Penn State got, one of them's a little older.
Weibo and Perkashin would both be, I believe, ineligible.
Right. So now you're sitting there like they're two of the primary guys that they have on this team. Did
Juric play EuroLeague at all or no?
Juric played high school in Kansas, I believe.
Okay, so he's fine.
But
you see my point. All of a sudden, it gets real loosey-goosey.
Well, that's what I mean. You can't do this now because people have already set their rosters as of now.
And NIL has already been guaranteed to players. And like all of a sudden, what happens with NIL deals and what happens with the allocation of assets, what happens with, again, the roster spots, like what happens with the spot, everything.
Number one, I'm fine with the rule. Okay, I'm fine with the rule.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not against the rule. But it has to start with next season so everybody knows how they have to approach it. Number two, 5 years for everybody has to start next year, not now. Okay? And you go from there because you have to eliminate the Cam McCormick's. With all due respect, I know Cam McCormick was injured left and right, and I have sympathy for that. But you can't have him out there for his 9th year. Right? As Chuck Noll says, it's time to move on with your life's work. And your life's work is not playing football on a college campus or multiple college campuses in some cases. I'm sorry. You can't stay in high school forever. You can't stay in college forever either. That's why pro leagues were created. If you're good enough, you make it.
Luka Doncic was 16 playing for Real Madrid, becomes 17, goes and turns 18, goes to the draft, makes his way through the process, doesn't come over.
You have to be 19.
Yeah. But you my point, though.
The NBA, you have everybody talks about one and done. That's not the complete rule.
It's quote unquote one
and done.
It's
one and done, but you have to be either one and done or 19. Right? And I always point the 19 out all the time because of that scenario. But this is where you can't put in a rule where everybody's looking around like going, okay, who do we have left? I will say this, that once rules like this are put in place, the 5-year rule, which I think will pass, this rule, which I think will pass, it will then put a greater emphasis on recruiting high school players again.
It will. It'll put an emphasis on it.
Because right now, high school recruiting has been hurt by this.
And it's become generally the top guys get recruited, but outside of that, it is a little hit or miss. If the rule is enforced this season, per Jonathan Givoni of Draft Express, if you look at the current quote-unquote preseason top 25, which I get is not an exact science, we look at the top 25 teams, at least half of them lose a starter. Just straight up based on players who would lose eligibility. If this starts this season, which is a lot. That adds up real fast.
But again, there's got to be somebody in the room with common sense saying, I've got all these coaches that set their roster, and they set the roster under the current rules. You can't change the rules in the middle of the game.
No.
Okay? You tell them that when you set your roster next year, you can't do this.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only way to logically do it, right? And I'm talking about everybody. I mean, there are certain foreign players that Penn State's going to face this season. And so let's take Penn State's roster off the board. Would Penn State's pathway be a little bit easier not facing a couple of these guys? Yeah. Okay? But that's not okay. Every coach in the country operated under the same rule when they put their roster together. You cannot take away your roster right now because the roster building time is over with. Okay? Roster building time, again, can you take a guy out of the portal? Yeah. Could you maybe sign somebody late in August? Sure. But that doesn't happen that often. And I know because I put together all my charts in the offseason. I've already got 20 of them done. Right? All the Big Ten teams plus 3 of the non-cons I have done. So I know. So then I go back and I revisit it in the summertime. And guess what doesn't change? The roster, except for the numbers, are now there. Right now, you don't have any numbers listed for guys. Right? That's the only thing that changes. Right? Now, some of the smaller schools, like say, for example, you're going to play, like Penn State played UNC Central last year. Right? No offense, but UNC Central or a Towson State or whatever, right? Smaller schools where it takes them longer to assemble their roster, right? Because they get picked over a little bit by other schools, guys getting the whatever, and it takes longer. Sometimes I don't really have a feel for what a team has totally until maybe August. At that level, not at this level, not at this level.
Power 5.
right? I mean, going into the season, pretty much as of today, because workouts will start right around June 16th. I think workouts start the 8 weeks summer workout. Okay, right? And you're going to tell them now, no, I'm sorry, these guys can't play. You can't do that. Okay, they were all recruited following, some of them followed the rules, I suppose, but let's just generalize. They followed the rules saying you can do this, you can do this, you can do this, you can do that. So they went out and they put all that work in to bring people in, and now you're telling me, no, I'm sorry, you can't do that. That's why I'm all for the rule, but to be implemented in the next cycle.
The following cycle.
Right? The 5-year deal, 19 years of age, or right out of high school, should be next year.
And it should be enforced next year, and there should be the grace of the players who are currently in it get put into the system as well. But in the case of like this eligibility piece, the players who are already in college shouldn't be just booted out because they are.
Well, no, let's just take a five-year piece. Let's take Reggie Groden.
Sure.
Okay. Under the current system, Reggie Groden, we get 5 years anyway because he didn't play at all last year. So let's take him as an example. But say Reggie had played last year. Say Reggie got into, let's take the redshirt part out of it and say he got in 18 games. Okay. Under 5 years, he'd still have 4 years of eligibility. He's there. That's the rule now. That's the way it should be. So, I mean, you'd have guys getting an extra year here and there to get to 5 years. That's fine with me. But you should not implement any of this until the 26-27 cycle comes up.
Yeah.
Where the early signing period is in the second Wednesday of November. Okay, early signing period. Anybody signing early out of high school is going to have 5 years. Anybody that you get overseas, okay, right, if they have any professional experience, they're out.
Yeah.
Okay, but if they're in a different system and they're 20 years of age or whatever, they've got 3 years. Or whatever they have 3 years.
Based on how many years they
based
played.
on how many get right, but everybody will be recruiting with that understanding of it, as opposed to already having your roster set
and then all of a sudden exploding it.
Right. Because last year you're talking about the kid from Baylor, and you're talking when we mentioned Badiako, they both got added mid-season. Come on. You know what your roster is your roster when you start the year. See, that's the other part I thought was so BS-y about last year. Right? Well, yeah, you were adding him back. You're adding him in now? What, is there a waiver wire I didn't know about? College sports doesn't have a waiver wire. I mean, come on. To me, whatever your roster is when you start the season is your roster. I mean, that's to me the way it should be. I'm not for example, I know he won the national championship. What Jack Forrest did, right, for Oklahoma State, and he entered school in January. He started. No, I'm sorry, he wasn't on the roster when the season started. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, that's got to be curbed too. I don't mind players coming in, for example, and they come in early because they're in football, right? And they can go through the spring or volley, all the fall sports. I have no problem with that. I do have a problem with guys, and I've seen this in basketball, where Johnson, who played for Ohio State.
Puff Johnson?
No. He played for Ohio State. He transferred to South Carolina. He came back. Michie Johnson.
Yeah.
Right? Started Ohio State, transferred to South Carolina, came back, then he transferred again. He was added to the roster in the mid. I'm like, what are we doing here? Right? What are we doing? Now, I mean, obviously the Oklahoma State kid, I think he's out of Johnstown, right? Jack Forrest? I think he is.
Jack Forrest is
Bishop
from the Bucknell Bison player.
No. The wrestler.
Oh, wrestler.
Oklahoma State. Right. I mean, to me, in other words, if you're on the roster, you're hurt. You finally get back in the lineup and you win.
Jax Forest.
Jax Forest. Right.
He was born in Chapel Hill.
Oh, okay.
And went to Bishop McCourt. Mm-hmm. I know.
This is all I have are doubts. I have doubters all around.
I don't doubt you.
Yeah.
I never doubt you.
Should do a lot of fact checking. All right, so I'm just kidding. I'm joking. But I'm saying, I'm going to college now. You're going to college now? I'm sorry. We have a system that is so convoluted right now that to me, you start the season with a roster. That's your roster. Okay? It's the way it goes.
Yeah. Speaking of rosters, Steve Jones, news came out yesterday. We didn't talk about it. The NCAA denied Texas Tech quarterback Brendan Sorsby a request for reinstatement for eligibility for the 2026 season. Sorsby, per Pete Thamel, completed his 35-day inpatient rehab for his gambling addiction at Algomis in Goodyear, Arizona. Texas Tech is appealing it, but we'll see how far that goes. So
no, it all comes down to the court. And by the way, the court that they went to, the judge that they went to recused himself.
Yeah. Good on the judge, by the way.
No, good on him. That tells me, hey, look. But this is where everybody's going to court now. Everything's a court case now. Look, we're inching our way, and maybe it's not just inching, but several inches at a time now toward a breaking point. And to me, at some point, some adult, and again, it's not a perfect solution, please. I'm not saying it's a perfect solution, right? But at some point, you're going to have to get toward collective bargaining where there are rules in place that management can work with. There are rules in place that the players can agree to abide by, and a structure which the fans will embrace. I mean, that's where we have to be headed at this point, because right now it just feels like there are no rules, and when they come up with something, for example, we were just talking about basketball. When they come up with something, you sit back and go, well, you can't do it now, right? Next year, yes. Next year's rosters should be, quote, taken care of. Yeah, and you know darn well you're going to have people who are suing, saying, "Hey, we signed and blah 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 blah." But you have to fight it, right? These are the rules. It's the way it's got to be. I'm sorry, and if you have collective bargaining, which means both sides agree to it, okay, guess what gets eliminated? I'm going to court to sue you. Okay, if there's a collective bargaining agreement, there would be rules in the collective bargaining agreement about how do you handle the gambling aspect. How do you handle it? What are the rules? Calvin Ridley did not play a game with the Atlanta Falcons in a season. And then in his quiet time, gambled on some games.
Steve Jones, we do have some news coming out from Ross Dellinger at Yahoo. He has through Senators Maria Cantwell from Washington and Ted Cruz from Texas.
That's their bill.
The bill named the Protect College Sports Act. It has a lot of information, so I'm going to kind of run through this based on what his reporting is, the exclusive details on the legislation that's coming on out. So the bill precludes the creation of a so-called Super League in college sports, which, creates an agent registry limiting fees to 5%, so agents can't take the 25, 30+% that have been reported of some agents taking advantage of kids.
If you're with a really good agent,
they take a 5% at most.
3 to 5%. Most are 3%.
It's a low single-digit number.
It's 3 to 5%. If your agent is taking more than that, you are not with a reputable agent.
Permits the pooling of media rights. Bars coaches from leaving their teams before the season ends. It's called the Lane Kiffin Clause. Surprise, surprise.
Okay. Now, look, the pooling of media rights, I'm sorry. Okay. Guess who gets hurt by that? Penn State.
Yep.
Okay. As a conference, they went out and they sold their rights. The NCAA used to have this whole thing until Oklahoma, Georgia sued and won.
Yeah.
You already have a Supreme Court, not a local court, not a district court. The Supreme Court has already ruled on television rights in 1984. That part of the bill will be challenged.
So, the bill, I'll just run through piece by piece here, enables administrators to enforce policies related to movement by permitting only one transfer before a player must miss a season of eligibility. A second or more transfers are permitted under certain conditions, such as a head coach leaving or the elimination of an athlete's sport.
That's fair.
Fair. Establishes a 5-year eligibility length for college athletes and prohibits professional athletes, even those having competed internationally, from participating in college sports if they earned compensation in their pro careers beyond prize money.
Fair.
It codifies portions of the NCAA's House settlement by granting legal protection to the NCAA and College Sports Commission to enforce strict standards in prohibiting third-party NIL deals.
Already exists.
Remains mostly neutral on athlete employment, leaving open a possibility for athletes to eventually be deemed employees and collectively bargain. So it leaves that open for a later discussion point.
You're going to have to do it. Okay, with all due respect, okay, you don't need, you name the sport, I can tell you they don't need collective bargaining. Football and men's basketball does. Now, women's basketball will probably demand it. Right, we're going through a very interesting experiment with the WNBA. Okay, because they lose between $20 and $60 million a year. I'm talking about WNBA. We want more money. Okay, hey, I'm for anybody trying to get more money. That's great. Well, how much money is the WNBA expected to lose now because of the new collective bargaining agreement? Right. But football and men's basketball need collective bargaining. They need it because that's where the money is. Exponentially more in football than in men's basketball. But men's basketball, let's face it, that's $1 billion a year TV deal that they have for the NCAA basketball tournament.
Yeah. Along with all of this is what is listed here by Ross as the cap. So the policing of this cap is perhaps the most notable additions to the legislation. This piece of legislation stands to grant the College Sports Commission, the new enforcement entity created, a path to enforce the cap policies without the threat of legal challenges. A significant move, and one that could, if the cap isn't increased, result in a decrease in player compensation rates. Cantwell added on in, the cap can float in case the parties want to go back to the table to raise the cap. There's a dialogue we can have, but it'll ensure the athlete's right to the private right of action for NIL compensation. And along with all of this, it'll limit the number that teams can spend, because third-party NIL compensation is how some rosters, of course, balloon to the numbers we've heard and have been reported on of football to 30-plus million, basketballs to 15-plus million, especially in the Big Ten and SEC, of these schools having very large, basically quote-unquote roster sizes.
Who was number one in the country last year?
For basketball or for football?
In NIL.
In NIL?
Basketball.
For basketball, I'm guessing Michigan or Kentucky.
BYU.
Right.
And it was somewhere, it was about 35, 36 million. That's always been the story.
Along with all of this is the discussion of the Super League and pooling rights. So Super League is a very specific piece that touches near and dear to my heart because of soccer and them trying that. This act prevents any league earning more than $1 billion in revenue on its 2025 tax returns from merging or consolidating with another conference. There are only 2 leagues that earn such revenue currently. Spoiler, Big Ten and the SEC. There's the concept targeting these 2 conferences. The bill offers leagues the ability, it's an option only, to pool their media rights contracts in an effort to generate more revenue at a financially stressed time. The pooling of rights is only voluntary. It has been reaffirmed by both senators as well that it is a voluntary piece.
Well, I can tell you right now, there are 2 organizations that are not going to volunteer.
Yeah. As the 2 biggest revenue generators, the SEC and Big Ten would need to participate in the pooling of rights for projected media values to quote-unquote work. The other conferences must negotiate with the two conferences in striking an agreement that would be attractive to them to garner their inclusion.
No.
A minimum threshold of 75% of the 138 FBS schools must be reached to collectively pool rights, which would come through replicating the Sports Broadcasting Act of 1961, which provides professional leagues the right to evade antitrust law and collectively pool rights. Oh, and there's other pieces of this as well, but this is kind of the main stuff going on, Steve Jones. Oh, boy. So much reading of legal jargon in the middle of all this.
Okay. So right now, internally, so let's take the internal number, because what they're talking about is capping the external number. There's already a cap, and it's based on the House settlement. This past season, it was $20.5 million. It goes up 4% every year. So this upcoming year, starting July 1, it's $21.3 million. July 1, 2028, it'll be $22.2 million. And then keep going 4%. So that number is going to keep going up.
Yes. The point they're trying to say is that a lot of these schools end up getting these extra NIL numbers based on corporate sponsorships, so the pieces they are able to redirect for NIL as a third party, and they're wanting to try and curtail that.
My issue has been, here's money. Right? I have no problem with, hi, I'm Kyle Leff, quarterback for
Gatorade, Penn State,
for for whatever,
Gatorade.
I drink Gatorade. I'm Kyle Leff. Come to the student bookstore. That's name, image, and likeness. That's actually legitimate.
Yeah.
Okay, but I run a huge company out in California. My girlfriend or fiance or wife happens to be a graduate of said school, and we give the quarterback $12 million. No, I'm sorry. That's not. No. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's why part of collective bargaining is standardized contracts. Okay? All these numbers that we throw out there all the time, we don't know if they're true. We don't have no idea if they're true. None. Zero. Everything is, there's a shroud around it all the time. There's a lot of guesswork as to what guys are getting. People in the industry pretty much know, but in terms of fans, media, everybody's throwing darts and they're guessing. Okay, when you have collective bargaining and you have standardized contracts, it include bonuses and things like that.
All of a sudden, we know what people get contractually.
Okay, but now we know. Okay, let's take Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley, signs with Penn State. He signed a minimum 3-year deal. Because he can leave after 3 years. That's an NFL rule, not a college rule. He signed a 3-year deal, or he signed a 5-year deal with guaranteed 3 years and then options on 4 and 5 if he stays. And we know how much money he's getting. We know what the bonus numbers happen to be.
We know what the guarantee is.
Right. We know what all the guarantees happen to be and all that. And so does everybody else out there, where it sets a market. I think I saw the safety for the Chargers, the kid from Florida State.
Safety for the Chargers.
Just set a record for the highest contract for safeties in the NFL.
The Chargers, Derwin James?
Derwin James, yeah.
Yeah.
I believe he just signed a contract to make him the highest paid safety in the history of the league. Okay. That stuff happens all the time in the league, where a new number is established. But you know what they're getting paid. You know what the number is. You know how long the contract is. You know what the opt-out number is. I mean, you brought up Brendan Sorsby. We were just talking about him moments ago. Sorsby's got more legal trouble than just trying to keep himself reinstated. Okay, he's being sued for $1 million because he left Cincinnati, and allegedly, and again, we don't have the contract in front of us, it is alleged that there's a $1 million buyout in that contract, which allegedly he didn't pay. Okay. But we have standardized contracts. It's there. Okay. We know that. We see that with coaches. Coaches have contracts. They have buyouts. We just went through an entire session here at Penn State. What's the buyout number? eventually that James Franklin and Penn State settled on. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes there's certain coaches, for example, that I'm like, let's take Jeff Capel at Pitt. A lot of people are like, he's made the NCAA tournament once. What's going on with him? He's in his 7th or 8th year, and they'll point out Pitt's like, we're kind of cash poor right now.
Yeah.
We can't afford the buyout. But we know what the number is.
Yeah, we have ideas of things.
Right.
We actually know stuff.
Okay, making them employees.
That is, that's a discussion for another day. We're wrapping up the show.
Making them employees is interesting because by making them employees, you are then a part of the benefit package. And that means you are now eligible for not just the medical part. It's more than that. Medical, dental, vision, the whole thing. But it puts you on the pension plan. Ooh.
Yeah. It is. That is a discussion for another day, and we have a lot of time, which we do not, Steve Jones. But don't you love when things break in the middle of a show? Nothing better than it.
Thank you for listening to Sports Talk with Steve Jones, a 7 Mountain Media production. Come back at 11 every weekday for analysis of the latest happening in the sports landscape. From college football to European soccer, Steve and Kyle cover it all on Sports Talk with Steve Jones.